Okay, Armand Armstead was full today, Nick Perry was full, Wes Hort was limited, TJ Bryant was limited, and Simi did not practice. Everybody else that's out for the season is still out or been out for a while. Thought the practice today was just started okay. I was hoping for the heat to stay out here. For whatever reason, the heat dropped about 10-15 degrees, it seemed like, right before we started. So hopefully it'll be hot again tomorrow. Thought we really pushed our guys, challenged them to really practice extremely hard today so we can get in better shape so we can play a complete game. This is a big game for us to come home, do our Pac-10 opener, home opener, versus a team that beat us last year and a team that is very dangerous. They play very physical in all three phases of the game. They have one of the most dynamic players in the country that touches the ball every single snap. So we're going to have our hands full.
What did Nebraska do well against Locker that maybe you guys can try to replicate?
Well, you can find 6 DBs that all run about 4-4. You can put a game plan in where you put them all out there together like they did. And they did a phenomenal job to put all their speed with their DBs on the field, cover their guys up. Whenever he broke, for the most part, they were able to catch him. That's something that our personnel, we don't have the ability to do, so we have to go different directions.
I noticed you had Scroggins serving the Locker role. He had previously, I guess, almost every practice had been over with the offense. Why did you change that up?
Yeah, it just gives us, the guy we were using down there can do some good things, John Manoogian, but doesn't give us quite the athlete that we're looking for, and so we're hoping Jesse could add a little spark to that.
Do you think Horton, are you confident that he's going to be available for the game?
I hope he is.
How does it feel to have the deepest team in the conference?
Where'd that come from?
Your boy in Washington said.
Yeah, that's an old Lou Holtz trick that he learned watching TV a long time ago. They call it a team that has the lowest scholarship probably in the country, the deepest team in the Pac-10. That's an old setup trick. We can barely find enough guys to practice. You guys are out there, you see our service team. Our service team is made up of some kids from science class. That half of them never played football before.
That's also an old Lou Holtz trick too, to downplay your own team. I'm just saying.
We watched the same show.
And the first home game, the offensive line kind of really got off to a rough start, especially Matt Khalil. He had like a penalty and a holding and gave up a sack. How has he played since then? Yeah, he's settled down after that first quarter and has played much better. That was surprising to see. Usually you wouldn't think your offensive line. Usually that happens on the road, in a hostile environment. Usually at home they're much more comfortable. So that was really the biggest disappointment of that game. If you go back to that game, our inability to play well up front, and we have steadily improved since. And now it'll be a challenge to come back and do it because, as you can see, that's really the key to our offense, like most offense, but especially ours, because we do run the ball and play action so much. We need those guys to play really well, like they did last week.
How much does the availability of TJ Bryant help you guys out?
Well, TJ played a lot for us last week in the nickel, and then when we put the backups in, he moved outside, played outside corner for us. So hopefully he'll be there this week, and we can use him in some different roles.
It seemed like last year it was an advantage for Washington having Sark and Nick Holt on the staff, having just come from here. Like, if you were to play Tennessee, let's say, would that be a big advantage for you, knowing the personnel or the recruits or whatever?
Sure, that's a very big advantage because we don't know Washington's guys. We didn't recruit them or coach them or know exactly what they do well and what they don't. Where when you come from a place, you know that. You've been with them, you know their mentality, you know the things that they get beat on, you know the things they do well. So that's always been an advantage, and especially in that situation, they had so many coaches coming from here that knew these guys.
How different is it the second year new staff here? How does that change that advantage that he had last year?
I think it's still the same. Besides our freshmen, he knows this whole team. Think about the event. Both coordinators. I don't know. I bet that's never happened in football. That you play a team where the year before both coordinators are on the other staff. Nick Holt went from defensive coordinator here to defensive coordinator there. So not just they know one side, they know everybody. So it's still still good advantage for him probably for the next 2 years.
So Levi knows that when he says you're at step.
Yeah. He wasn't here when the sanctions hit.
Did he text you back?
Yeah, he texted me back. He told me Locker got hurt. He's out for the game.
Do you see similar patterns in terms of how they're throwing some of their true freshmen in the mix with
what you guys used to do when he was here?
Yeah, he did it last year with the running back, and now he's doing it with the middle linebacker and the defensive end. They're looking to play more, so I can see that, and it's the right way to go, especially when you're starting, your first couple of years, and you get those guys so that when you're in year 3 and year 4, they've played a bunch. So I see him following that philosophy a lot.
You said
He's really, as you go back to there's a lot of similarities because he had, Jake's the #1 pick in the draft, and we all know he's a great quarterback. That's very much like we walked in here and had Carson, and so the first year, went through some struggles, but did some good things like Washington, and then had him for his last year, just like he has Jake right now. So really, there's a lot of similarities.
What do you think's a bigger factor, that they've had 2 weeks, or that they're probably embarrassed and gonna, be motivated to play?
I think both things. This is not, if you were to paint a perfect picture, this is not it. I wish they would have won that Nebraska game, and they were feeling great about themselves. When you lose, you get a resolve to never lose again, and a lot of times you go back to work even harder. And I know that that's what they did. Even talking to them, I know that they went to really physical practices last week, a lot of live stuff, and I'm sure that that's going to help them a lot.
you said that after the first 4 games, that the staff was going to kind of sit down on Sunday and review things and see. What did you come out of that meeting with about your own team?
Yeah, there's some things that you'll see Saturday personnel-wise. Not major changes, but just some personnel changes where we put the 4 games together, and some people maybe have moved around on the depth chart a little bit. Sometimes it's not necessarily who's starting, but playing in certain packages or playing on special teams as well.
Are you confident in your team's discipline after cutting down the penalties last game?
Yeah, I hope so. Like I've said before, one game doesn't define you good or bad, and so now we've got to continue to do that. So that's who we are.
This will be Matt's 17th start, which is one more than Mark Sanchez had in his whole college career. At what point do quarterbacks make that next big step in terms of the big leap forward? And how many starts usually is it?
You never know, and there's so many variables that go in that. Especially there's a big difference because one was as a true freshman, getting his starts, and so that's a lot different than a guy who sat here for 2 years, whatever, 2.5 years before he really played, I guess. So there's a big difference that way, and then the variables of who's around you. You're always going to play better if you have a great supporting cast too. So we need to continue to build that around that.
Good.